so my name is Molly, I am 22 and I'm from Manchester. I've had this channel for quite a while now, but I've not really done much with it. I've got quite a few short videos up that I've posted straight from my TikTok, but this is the first kind of long form video that I'm doing. I initially made this channel just to kind of document my own fitness journey. I really love posting on my fitness TikTok and like filming my workouts and stuff like that, so I thought I would jump on and give it a go on YouTube as well. I thought, why not? I've been training for quite a while now. I joined a gym when I was 16 and I'm 22 now, so it's quite a few years, but I feel like my training has only really, I've only really started seeing progress in the past year or two, because a lot of those years were me not really knowing what I was doing, not eating right, not training hard enough, not being consistent with it. So I finally started seeing some gains and some progress, so I just thought, why not document it? I feel like these kind of videos really helped me when I was like a beginner and when I first started out on my fitness journey, so I just thought it'd be quite fun to try and make some of these videos myself. So this channel is pretty much just going to be fitness, lifestyle, workout, stuff like that. It is very new to me. I despite the fact that I'm sat talking to a camera right now, it's very nerve-wracking and I'm still a little bit nervous, like filming myself in the gym and stuff. I feel like a lot of the time you do get some funny looks, as if to be like, why the hell are you filming in a gym? But I'm sure that confidence will come with time. I thought, I enjoy doing it, I enjoy posting on my TikTok, so I thought, fuck it, let's just do it. So like I said, the aim of this channel is just post my own personal journey, in hopes that I help someone, motivate someone. If people enjoy it, then that's a win-win. I just thought I'd throw it out there as well that I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not a fully qualified PT or anything like that. This is just things that I've learned throughout my fitness journey and things that have helped me. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. But for this first video, I have actually filmed my sessions for the full week. So I think it's 5 sessions that I've done. I've filmed them and I've put them together for this video, and I've basically just done a voiceover and talked through what it is I do each session and on each day of the week. I'm not confident enough to film in the gym and speak to the camera at the same time, so I filmed everything and then I've done a voiceover afterwards of the things that I'm doing. Just put a few little form tips in on each exercise and stuff like that, and it's basically just how I structure my training split every week. Some depending on work and life and events and things like that, this might not be every single week, but this is just like the standard. On a normal week, this is what I would train on what days, and they're the exercises that I would do. So yeah, I thought that would be a good little first video just to go through how I train each week. But yeah, I'll leave it there, get straight into the video. The next clips will be Monday's session and then it'll just follow on from there. So if you are even still watching this far in with me chatting shit for the first 5 minutes, I hope you enjoy it. It's not perfect whatsoever because, like I say, it is my first video. I'm still not used to like filming, editing and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, let's get into the video. So the first exercise that I started out with was a barbell hip thrust. I'm making sure that the bench is just underneath my shoulder blade, keeping my chin tucked into my chest. Where the knee is, making sure that we've got a 90-degree angle and we're pushing up through the heels, keeping a slight pause at the top and making sure that the movement is slow and controlled. Then I moved on to an RDL, making sure that my back is staying neutral. You want to avoid arching it. You want the feet shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knee, hinging backwards at the hip. Think of this like a forward and backward movement rather than an up and down movement. And then you're coming back up when the barbell is halfway past your shins. I then moved on to some hyperextensions, and here I am making sure that the pad is just below my hips, so I've got enough range of motion over the pad, keeping my chin tucked in, slight bend in the knee with a wide stance, and you're thinking of this movement as if you're trying to thrust into the pad. Avoid swinging your upper body so that the range of motion is slow and controlled, targeting those glutes. And then the final exercise of this session was a seated
isolated leg curl. I always do my compound movements at the start of the session, isolated at the very end. I did 3 sets of 8 on everything, and that was my full glutes and hamstring session. Then my second session of the week was back and biceps, and I started out with a lat pull down. Here I'm making sure that I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together and pushing my chest out. I'm bringing the bar down to just below my chin, and I'm thinking of the movement as if I'm pulling my elbows towards my ribs. You can see here that I'm leaning back ever so slightly, but you want to avoid swinging drastically as that takes all the tension off your lats. And at the top you want a full range of motion, bringing it right back up to the top so you've got that big stretch through your lats. Then I moved on to some lat pullovers, which can actually be so hard to perfect. I think it took weeks of me doing these before I could actually feel it in my lats, which is where you're supposed to feel it. But you just want to hinge slightly forward at the hips, keeping your back straight, slight bend in the elbow, and it's almost like a swooping motion. So you kind of swoop in the bar down towards your hip area. Then I moved on to some seated rows, and here I've got my chest up, back straight, and I'm driving the weight back with my elbows towards the belly button. I'm leaning forward ever so slightly, but you want to avoid using momentum to pull the weight back, as that takes all the tension off your back, and you just really want to focus on that mind to muscle connection. Then I moved on to some bent over rows, and I was actually debating whether to put this clip in the video. My muscles were extremely fatigued by this point, and I can really see my form slipping. As you can see, I'm moving my upper body in order to bring the bar up, which is exactly what you're meant to not do. You're meant to keep your upper body as still as possible and really use those lats to bring the bar up. But I thought I'll keep it in. It's a bit of a teaching point. This is why I enjoy filming my sets in the gym, because you really pick up on things that you wouldn't usually notice. Then I moved on to some bicep curls, making sure I've got a full range of motion, bringing those forearms all the way back down to get that big stretch through your bicep. And that was my back and bicep session. Wednesday's session was a push session, so I did chest, shoulders and triceps. I started out with a shoulder press, and I've got the bench leaning back ever so slightly. I then brought my elbows forward a little bit so that they're in front of me rather than at the side, and I'm pressing overhead, bringing my biceps towards my ears, and we're avoiding locking the elbows out at the top. Then I moved on to an incline bench press. Here I've got my back flat against the bench, and similar to the shoulder press, instead of having my elbows flared outwards to the side, I've brought them in ever so slightly. As always, avoiding locking elbows out at the top and bringing all the way back down for that full range of motion across your chest. Then I moved on to some lat raises. I've got my feet shoulder width apart. I've got my back nice and straight with a bend in my elbows, and I'm bringing the weights out towards the side. Avoid using momentum or swinging to bring the weights up. You want to keep the movement nice and still and controlled. And then lastly, I went in with some front raises. I did also do tricep extensions as well, but me being me, forgot to film them, which isn't good. But I did triceps at the very end, and that was my push session. And then Friday was my second leg session of the week, specifically targeting quads and glutes this time. Started out with a hip thrust as always, and the Pure Gym that I train in on a Friday actually has a hip thrust machine, which I absolutely love. It saves so much time setting a barbell up. You literally just whack the weights on and lift, which is great. And then I went on to a reverse lunge, which I prefer to do on a Smith machine, as I feel like it gives a lot more stability and I can actually lift a lot heavier on the Smith machine than what I would on just a normal barbell. I've got the bar resting across my shoulders and shoulder blades so that there's no strain on my neck. Bringing that back leg back and down, avoid your knee touching the floor. You want a 90-degree angle on the working leg when you're at the bottom, and I've also added a plate under my working leg just to add a bit of a deficit to get a greater stretch across the glute.
I then went straight into a hack squat, which I absolutely hate. I honestly hate this exercise with a passion because of how brutal it is, but it really does give you the best quad pump. I have quite a narrow stance on here, really targeting those quads, and you want to bring the weight as far down as physically possible. And then I went into some leg extensions, as always isolated at the very end, and this is just a really good burner at the very end of your session. And then the final session of the week was another back and bicep session on Saturday. I did the exact same exercises that I did in Tuesday's session. So we've got a lat pull down, a seated row, a bent over row, some lat pullovers, and then bicep curls at the very end. And you can see here on the bent over row that my form is a lot better. I've really avoided swinging my upper body to bring the weight up. And that was Saturday's back and bicep session.